All right, everybody, welcome back to the Titans table for two in the two-tone blue. That's Andrew,
That's Christian.
and we're coming off of our first win and a bye week, hoping to get everything back on track here. A lot of people don't think that's what this season's about, but hey, I'm all about wins, and I think you should always be trying to win. So if we can get a couple more W's on the way here, we might be right back in it. We have kind of
Yeah,
a mirror image of these two teams in a way. Two quarterbacks that are young, future futures of the team. Both have injuries that they're kind of coming off this week, and both kind of had tough seasons. I'd say Anthony Richardson maybe has had a few more good moments, but not too much better than Will Levis this season. So yeah, I mean, I think both guys will start. I don't think the injuries are going to keep them out this week. I think both will start. So yeah, what's your take on that? We kind of have a mirror image on these two teams this week.
yeah, for sure. I mean, two teams that are trying to figure out if their young guy is their guy, and both with backups behind them, where part of the franchise, part of the fan base is probably saying, "I want that guy to start." I think Flacco is probably 10 times the quarterback Mason Rudolph is, but still people calling for the backups to play. Um, but I mean, the big difference is how injured they are compared to how injured we are. It kind of
Yeah,
feels like the 2023 Titans down there for them. You know, the difference in the quarterback is Levis was full practice today. Fully expect him to go, and
yeah,
Richardson was still limited. For me, I hope Richardson starts just because of how better and savvy Flacco is, and he can still
yeah.
sling it.
It's been a little chaotic in there with Richardson, kind of similar to Will Levis. Not made quite as glaring of mistakes, but it's been very similar situations. And yet the injuries, you kind of brought injuries up. It didn't look too bad for us this week. We also have Cedric Gray, excuse me, my favorite draft pick. I was most excited about Cedric Gray, honestly. Glad to see him kind of coming back and getting in the mix of things. We can see that shaking things up a little bit, but pretty much the big names that are kind of on the injury list, nothing major, would be Hopkins, Simmons, and Snead. Obviously, Will Levis we spoke about, and Ernest Jones in there with a little bit of an elbow, but everybody practicing for the most part. And if they're not, it's mainly for rest. And Jamal Adams is another name there that did not actually practice. And congratulations to Trevin
Yeah,
Burks. I didn't notice. I didn't know that's why he missed practice until you told me. But yeah, I just wanted to say that too. Congratulations to Trevin Burks today for
yeah,
the
had a
birth of a
baby.
child.
Yeah, I mean, luckily none of our injuries seem that serious. Like I said, Levis, Jones, and Gray practice. Steed, Simmons, and Hopkins limited, but I believe all three of those are just rest. I think you'll see Jeffrey Simmons on the injury report for a few weeks here with that elbow, but I think he's good to go. Uh, Jamal Adams, if he doesn't play, it's not the worst thing for us to overcome. Um, the biggest one for our injury report is Coburn, backup defensive lineman, but he's been really solid for us all year, and just giving those guys rest too. And so, but I mean, if you're comparing our injury report to theirs, when our backup D lineman is the worst thing we got going, and you go over to theirs, we're sitting a lot better than we have. Jonathan Taylor's still not practicing. His backup's
Yeah,
still not practicing. Trey Sermon. They just found out Michael Pittman is going to be out
Michael
for a few
Pittman. Yeah,
weeks. That's number one receiver. They're not positive on their RQB, where RQB still had a full practice. Josh Downs didn't practice with a toe. So,
yeah.
and they've had some, they're nicked up on the offensive line, too. I mean, Ryan Kelly practiced today, but Braden Smith is out. So, the injury bug
Well,
is really getting to the Colts just right now this season. I mean,
Well, and the Keandre
injuries in
Coburn one
the
becomes a little
NFL.
bit bigger for us due to the fact we talked about it all year. We're not a deep team, so that one may not have been as big a deal, to some other teams and things like that. But just given the lack of depth we have, especially kind of in that
Yeah.
area there, that's kind of a big one for us. Um, but yeah, it looks like otherwise everything's kind of pretty good for the Titans as far as that goes. We're looking a lot better as has been for the season for most teams we played. That's the one thing that we got away from is the injuries a little bit, which I'm happy to see that. Um,
After the
some of
last
the
few years, it's nice to see.
absolutely. So this is an opportunity for Will Levis this week because we're facing I think it's the worst statistical defense in the league. Titans are actually the best
If
statistical defense in the league, and the
if you
Colts are the
look at
worst.
yards allowed, the Colts are dead last,
Hmm.
420, giving up 30 yards more than anybody else. The Titans are number one, giving up about 12 yards less than anybody else. We haven't given 1,000 yards all season. So,
Yeah.
um, got a stat for you on that. 20
Okay.
times since the merger, the number one defense and the number last place defense have faced off each other 20 times. That's happened since the merger. The team with the number one defense is 17-3
Okay.
in those 20 games. Not that I mean, it's a cool, interesting stat.
It goes back to what I'm saying though. You know, we're gonna really if Will Levis can't do something this week with this opportunity against a really struggling defense, a hurt defense. I think we're getting closer and closer to knowing what he is. You know, if he can't kind of bring it this week, but he's also got to have help. So I've got some numbers on Skoronski this year. He's not been too much better than MPF. They're throwing a lot of blitzes his way. They're attacking Peter Skoronski this year. Uh,
Mm.
15 pressures for MPF this year, 14 for Peter Skoronski. And then you have 4 sacks for MPF and 2 for Peter Skoronski. Uh, so it doesn't help Will Levis when you've got guys giving up that kind of pressure. You know, so everybody on the offensive line's got to be good, but in particular, these two guys here. And I would even say maybe a little Radens, you got to throw him in there a little bit. I don't have his numbers in front of me, but I just have that because in comparison, you know, everybody's been looking at NPF all year, but, you know, Skoronski's right there behind him, man. He's not far off.
I think a big thing is like the sacks that Skoronski's might have given up haven't been as blatant as like MPF, and I think it's because you're on an island when you're on the outside a little bit more. You're not in
Yeah.
the middle of the dog pile per se. But I do mean with this Colts defense, although it's bad in all aspects, they're really bad against the run, like really bad against the run.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see Tony Pollard and Tajay having a big day. I mean, Tank Bigsby went for 101 on 13 carries. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
65-yard run in there. But they rushed for 126. They're giving up, 157 yards a game on the ground. I mean, and Trevor Lawrence had a good game, too. He had 370 yards and 2 touchdowns. So they're like 28th against the passes,
They
31st
got their
against the
first
run.
win of the season, too.
But they're that right. They don't have DeForest Buckner in there, and Kwity Paye may or may not play. So
Yeah.
that D line where that run stopping really comes in
Well, I'll tell you,
is not
Tony
there.
Pollard has been just running through defenses this year, and I'll tell you what I mean. So the Titans are number one in yards after contact. Titans running backs are number one in yards after contact this year. But
Derrick
we're
Henry still here?
also, but this is where it gets interesting as well, though. Titans are also last in yards before contact. So that also show you how bad the run blocking has been for these running backs. But so Tony Pollard's literally making stuff out of nothing. So I thought that was crazy. We're both first in yards after contact and last in yards before contact. So Tony Pollard's been actually pretty good this year
Yeah,
considering. So
still averaging 4 yards a carry with all that.
Yeah,
This is a real opportunity for the Titans because it's despite starting 0-3, like it's kind of wide open. I mean, you win this game, you're
yeah,
second in the AFC South.
absolutely.
So
Yeah,
I mean, and like looking at the playoff seedings, it's early, but the 7 seed only has 2 wins right now.
yeah.
So be the 2-2 Chargers. So
Yeah, it's definitely still wide
crazy to
open. I
think.
mean, we've got a tough few weeks. I mean, we've got the Lions after this, and what is it? The Bills after that, I believe.
I think it's
Uh,
Bills and Lions. Yeah.
Or
Those
Bills
two
then
for
wrong,
sure.
excuse me. Yeah, yeah. So
The Bills don't. The Bills don't scare me. I'm sorry.
yeah, Josh Allen's he's done. I mean, he's had a pretty good season though. Like, he's had a better
It's all
season than
him
I
though.
thought he would. Yeah, I mean, he just like I didn't think that they'd be having as good a
I like
season as
being
they're
James
having.
Cook.
But hey,
It's
I
him and
like our
James Cook. I
chances, man.
mean, I'm too much of an optimist though. I like our chances in every game.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's how it is to be a
Very
fan,
hard to
I
find
guess. You
me
know.
in all my predictions say I think we're going to lose this one just because I try to be a realist, but also I try to be an optimist at the same time.
Yeah, and so you're pretty sure that Flacco will start. Though I'm pretty sure he's going to start. If you had to ask me and put my money
I
on
don't
it, I think
know.
or not Flacco. Excuse me, Richardson. Flacco won't start, is what I mean. I apologize.
Yeah, I'm like
Yeah,
60-40 Richardson.
yeah, yeah,
You got to either Shane Steichen, like I said, he's trying to do the same thing Callahan is trying to figure out if Richardson's his guy or not. But he's
yeah,
also one more year into this, so he doesn't have as much wiggle room to lose either. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, sure.
so I mean, Flacco's been tearing it up, dude. He had 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. They lost, but still, 33 for 44. But he's getting even less weapons. He's talking about so we talked about JT, Sermon, possibly definitely Pittman, possibly Downs don't play. I mean, you're down to Alec Pierce, Donnie Mitchell. Like,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean,
And I mean, hopefully, I mean, our defense has been good all year, so hopefully they can just kind of keep doing what they're doing, you know, and then the offense just kind of put some points up on the board, you know, and I think we'll be all right.
I think I saw this um, the other day, this week, and I could be wrong, but I think the Titans haven't given up a single play over 40 yards. And the Colts are definitely going
Okay.
to test that because the one thing they do is take shots.
Yeah, yeah,
So you could definitely see some shots take, whether it's Flacco or Richardson, because Richardson he hit. I know week one he hit like 3 beautiful deep balls.
yeah, yeah.
So that's going to be tested. So Monty Hooker, Quandre Diggs, Snead, Jarvis, they're going to be tested this week just on deep passes alone. The
Well,
weapons aren't maybe crazy, but
and let me see if I can find it. You have, I don't know if you have it on you that you shared a stat with me about L'Jarius Sneed right after the game well, not right after the game, but last week.
the catches
See
he's
if I
had,
can.
so it was like 6 catches for 90 yards all year or something like that.
Yeah, it was all the top
Yeah,
receivers that he had gone up against and all their numbers. I can't find it off.
it's not great. I know he didn't give up any in week 3 or 4, if I remember correctly, and he gave up like
Okay,
three
yeah, here we go.
catches.
I've got it right here. So DJ Moore, 2 receptions, 25 yards. And this is all L'Jarius Sneed here. Garrett Wilson, 2 receptions for 35 yards.
Okay.
Jaden Reed, 0 for 0. Tyreek Hill, 0 for 0.
So 4 for 70 to the top
Not
receivers on the
bad.
other team. Yeah. Or
Absolutely.
4 for 60,
So
sorry.
I think I owe L'Jarius Sneed a bit of an apology just for not recognizing how good he's been this year.
That's how it happens when you're
We
that
have
good of a
not
corner.
mentioned
You
his
don't get
name.
recognized because the ball doesn't come your way.
Yeah, and we haven't mentioned his name enough, man. He has been the definition of lockdown. What a great acquisition by the Tennessee Titans.
It's so
Him and
funny
Ernest
because
Jones
that's where
have taken this defense to another level.
hey man,
And we're gonna get to all of them, but just some of I couldn't be more happy with all the additions to our defense this offseason. And hopefully Ernest Jones will stay. You know, that's another thing there. But Tavondre Sweat, man, Tavondre Sweat might be, other than like Harold Landry, maybe, might be the best player on the defense. Might be the best player. I mean, he has been phenomenal to be up
yeah.
there with those guys that he is. So there's not a lot of bad to talk about with the defense. You just hope they can hang on and keep
I
doing
think
what they're
when you
doing,
take
man.
the Green Bay game out of it, they've been everything you wanted them to be. I mean, the only thing you can say is turnovers. You want them to get the ball more, which is
Yeah,
the one thing that's bad as the Colts defense has been. They get their hands on the ball. Sometimes they're
yeah,
still like they're plus one. I mean, I got that right here. +1 in turnovers, +1, but they've given the ball up 7 times. So that means they have 8 takeaways as a
Yeah.
defense. So they're giving up yardage, but they'll get their hands on the ball because Richardson has 6 interceptions, just like uh, Levis does. They both have 6. That's the only thing you'd be like, hey, get your hand on it. And then those opportunities will come. You can't. There's no like turnover factory where you can manufacture these things,
Right.
but it'll come. So I believe they just
Well,
keep
yeah,
doing what
and
they're
it's like
doing.
it's not been a lack of creating opportunities. They've been there. There's been a few tip balls and drop tips and stuff like that. It's been there. It's just we haven't been fortunate enough
Yep.
to pull one in this year, but I think that'll change sooner than later. We got hopefully Jeffrey Simmons coming back and stuff, and that's somebody I hope to see. Not that he's been bad, I just want to see him be just a little bit better. I just want to see
Yep.
him just pick it up just a little bit. Because Tavondre Sweat, man, is he's coming for that number one spot on the D line, man. I'm telling you, he's coming
Yes.
faster than people realize. Because you could see him last week. I don't know if you noticed, man. There was times where he was. I've always got my eyes on him. He's the guy I'm always watching every play
Yeah,
on
it's hard
defense.
not to. He stands out for
Yeah,
sure.
and he made sure that there was times where he was helping other guys get in line, get in the right position and stuff on the D line. So that's great to see, man. I love seeing stuff like that. It shows that he's he's listening and soaking it all in, and he to be able to help other guys get in the right position as a rookie, man. Oh my gosh, and he's a monster. I just couldn't be more happy.
No, the Colts O line is pretty good, but they are nicked up. The big thing is Will Fries, their starting guard, just
Yeah,
went on IR. I believe it's going to be a rookie that's coming in behind him. I mentioned the center had a neck; he was full participant though, and then Braden Smith um, was hurt. But God, I would hate to be that rookie guard going up against Simmons and Sweat this week
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
Well, and Anthony Richardson might be seeing a ghost this week too. Because he had a tough injury against the Titans last year. Last time he saw us, so
I think it ended his season, didn't it?
I believe it did. Wasn't it like week 4? I believe it was pretty early in the season. Like
Like
now,
4 or 5,
yeah.
maybe. I don't know, maybe,
So
but I think he broke his collarbone or something.
yeah, yeah. So and we're not happy about that or anything. When that's not, hey,
No,
don't want
absolutely not.
anybody to
No, no,
get hurt.
no.
That's
But
not why. It's going to be coming into Tennessee though. I hope the fans can bring it and stuff and pull out another victory, man, because it's been a tough start, and I'd like to turn this ship around, man. I still have hope for the season. I still want a playoff run. I know some people are thinking like, hey, it's not about playoffs for the Titans this year. Well, you're an NFL team, so I think you should be
it is to
trying.
me
Yeah, I mean,
until it isn't. You know what I mean? Until
until
it's
it
not a
isn't, until
possibility.
yeah, it's that should always be the aspiration. So
We could be in week 13 and we have to win out, and a team has and 4 teams to lose out. I'm like, hey, we got a chance. This
yeah.
is
What did you have a couple of players you got a
sorry,
player on offense and defense that's maybe key for you this week? I can go first if you want me to. I'll tell you I'll go
yeah,
ahead and
go
go.
ahead.
I'll tell you my defensive guys. I already said is Jeffrey Simmons. I think he's had a good year so far, but I want him to crank it up just another notch, man. Be that extra motor over there next to Tavondre Sweat, and then we really be unstoppable, man. If he just picks it up just a little bit. And I know
Mhm.
some of it's been ticky tack, but he kind of finds himself in these crucial moments with these big 15-yard penalties. So just he's a passionate player and stuff. I didn't
Yeah.
like some of the jawing at the end of the game either. When the game's already lost, he's a better player than that. But other than that, man, I just want him to crank it up just a notch or two. That's my guy on defense, and on offense, I'm gonna go Tajay Spears uh, as a good kind of number 2 right there. I think Tony Pollard's kind of like cemented himself as kind of the RB1. It was kind of a RB1, RB1A, 1B kind of situation, I think, going into the year. But I think Pollard's kind of taking that starting position, taking the reins there. But Tajay Spears had a great touchdown last week, and I'm just waiting for him to burst and take off because I know he's got it in him. He's explosive and he cuts. Just his cuts are incredible. So Tajay, I keep waiting for that big game from Tajay, man. I was so happy to see him get a touchdown last week.
Yeah, I think he will. I think I saw a stat this week. I think it was like 62% Pollard, 38. Tajay is where it's been for the season.
Yeah,
And I don't have a problem with that. I do love Tajay, but I mean, I think Pollard is the better back overall.
yeah. Well, we got to get
Um,
ourselves more
but
opportunities too. We've had a lot of short drives and stuff this year. Not a lot of opportunity for guys to get the ball sometimes.
so for offense, for me, it's going to be Calvin Ridley, but
Okay.
even more so Brian Callahan.
Yeah.
I think we gotta find ways to get the ball in his hands because he's so explosive. He's so fast.
Yeah.
Talk about cutting on a dime. He
Yeah.
changes directions so fast. I do feel like it's going to be of a running game. So I think Pollard and Spears are big, like you said. But we got to figure out a way to get Calvin Ridley more involved for
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely. Paid a lot of
We
money
paid him all
for
that
that
money for
too.
a
So
reason.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, he has opportunities. That secondary is not great over there. Even though they have gotten their hands on some balls, they're still not great.
Yeah.
And we got a real opportunity here. And then on defense, I'm going to go just because I mentioned that the Colts like to take deep shots. So Hooker and Diggs, it's going to let nobody behind you. Kind of thing. Make sure you're communicating, know where you need to be. Make sure not just with each other, but with the cornerbacks. Know that they got help or they don't have help.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Hooker and
Safety.
Diggs are going to be big, and I think this is the week. I think it is. I'll save that for my final bite.
Okay. Well, I guess we can go ahead and get into that. My final bite. Um, I'm gonna predict one for Levis, man. I think
Okay.
Levis throws for 2 touchdowns and over 300 yards this week. I think with the weak
Wow, 300
defense,
yards, 2 tutties.
300 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm calling it for Levis this
Who
week. I
catches
think
them?
one to Hopkins and one to Ridley.
There we
Let's
go. I
go
like it.
there.
Get them both involved. Get them
I
both
almost called
involved.
3 touchdowns, man. I almost predicted three, and I was like, let's pull the reins back just a little bit. So 2 touchdowns, 300
Oh,
yards for Levis this week is what I'm calling. He's got an opportunity to. So
all right. My final bite of this prediction is going to be we get our first interception, and it's going to be Jarvis Brownlee Jr.
okay, I like
Jarvis
that.
Brownlee Jr. gets his hands on the ball.
I think he might be. He's turned out to be one of the better picks from the draft as well. I mean, you got Sweat and Layden have been
Everybody from
great.
this
Jarvis
draft
Brownlee might be
is
that
doing
number three
something,
best
except for
pick.
Cedric Gray.
Cedric Gray,
Yeah.
I still got hope out for Cedric Gray. We haven't seen what he can do.
Oh, I do too.
He's missed some valuable reps, but I have really high hopes for him. I think he could be really good potentially. So hopefully he's kind of at least paid attention and done some sort of studying and stuff at least while he's gone. 'Cause he's missed some valuable reps, but yeah, Cedric Gray, I'm still excited about. So hopefully we'll see
I
his
have
number
no
too.
question about whether he can work. He was a former captain at UNC. I mean,
Yeah,
work ethic and wanting to learn. Knowing what I've known about him so far, and he wasn't happy that he wasn't playing, but he knew he needed to get better, and we had the pieces to let him get better on the team. So
yeah.
nothing wrong
Uh,
with
we never touched on it. Just quickly before we wrap the thing up, who do you think? Who do you think's potential to be dropped if and when they make a spot for Cedric Gray?
um. If you're going just linebacker for linebacker, I mean, you got to look at Gifford, Reese, and Gibbons. If it's me, I'm not dropping James Williams. I think
Yeah,
he's a safety transferring to linebacker, so he has a lot to learn. But that dude's a freak, athletic.
yeah,
So I think it's going to be one of those three. I mean, maybe probably not Gibby because he's probably your third starter right now. So Reese or Gifford, to me, it's Gifford. He hasn't
yeah,
done anything special for this team. I mean, I know he's a special teams guy, but I think Cedric can be a special teams guy too.
yeah.
So it'd be
Possibly one of those
Gifford. I
tight
mean,
ends as well.
yeah, you could
Odakoya is
see him maybe
possibly one
dropping
I
to
could see him
Odakoya. I don't
drop.
think Yeah, it would be Odakoya. I don't think you would drop David Martin Robertson because
No,
I
I
think
don't
he'd
think
be
so.
up
Well,
on a team really
I think
fast. So if it was going to be one of them, it'd probably be Odakoya.
it'll be Odakoya. I think if it'll be a tight end, that'll remain to be seen. But regardless, I'm excited to see Cedric Gray back. So um, we'll see what happens with all of that, man. So yeah, we appreciate you.
Just
All.
uh, just uh,
Go ahead.
just to round up one little thing that happened. I think it was today or yesterday. Uh, Titans dropped John Ajuku and signed
Oh,
Leroy
yeah, that's
Watson up
right.
from the practice squad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
just to
That's
throw that
right.
out
Yeah.
there. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
that's a note I meant to
Callahan
bring up
mentioned
as
that
well right here.
Watson
I
will
had
get
it
a
written
chance.
down.
Yeah, I think he said Leroy Watson will get a chance to go challenge NPF for the right tackle job this week. So
Okay.
it seems like it's going to be a week to week thing with that right
Yeah,
tackle.
yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, and you know, it's always one play away, right? You know, you never know when somebody has to. I mean, being as thin as we are at certain spots, man, it could happen like that.
And it could
So
just be a thing where they're trying to push NPF a little bit by saying you're competing weekly. You
yeah,
better get
yeah,
your together.
yeah,
And then another cleanup thing is Trevor Simeon signed to the practice squad. When I first heard that, I was thinking, oh, maybe Will doesn't go. But I saw
yeah,
all the videos from practice today and stuff, and Will looked fine on the ball.
yeah, yeah.
So
I think
I think
Will's
maybe it's just
going this week.
insurance. Like maybe he can come up. He'll probably come up and be an emergency third QB because maybe they're worried he could land on it again and aggravate it again or
Sure.
something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Well, the way he
So
runs too, man, it's not unlikely. The way he takes hits and stuff is not unlikely, man. We kept saying this was going to happen,
wanting
man. So
wanting wanting to win and being dumb is a very fine line.
yeah,
So
yeah. So we got to change it up this week, man. It starts this week, so hopefully they can keep turning that ship around, man. We started turning, and hopefully we can rise up from the ashes, man, and come back to life
yeah,
here. So.
yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
everybody's come along, man. Colts fans, it's Colt Hate Week, but hey, we appreciate you guys being here as well, man. Seriously, it's all love for every NFL fan out there. Everybody
I'll be in
subscribe.
Indiana Saturday, so
Hey, there you
I'll be in
go.
Indiana. I'm driving right through there. I'm going up to South Bend to watch Notre Dame.
Hey, there you go.
So
Hey, that's a beautiful place,
I've never
man.
been. So
Yeah, it's awesome.
before we get off, anchor down, baby.
Oh
Vanderbilt
yeah, big
taking down
win
their
by
Crimson
Vanderbilt.
Tide.
Yeah, big win by Vanderbilt this week, man. They carried that goalpost. I couldn't believe they carried that far. But
3 miles,
yeah,
whatever it
big
was.
football weekend this week. It was fun football weekend, even though we didn't have a game. I had fun watching a lot of college football and stuff this weekend, man. I watched every game I could.
Sometimes it's nice when your teams aren't like when Vanderbilt was playing and you're playing
Yeah,
Vanderbilt, Alabama. You're like, ah. But then when the Titans aren't playing, it's kind of nice to just sit back and enjoy football and not get
yeah,
stressed out
yeah.
for a day.
Hey, kudos to all those Vanderbilt fans that didn't sell their tickets, and all the ones that went to the game. Because
All 96 of you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I
I'm
like
one
that
of
coach
them, man.
down
I'm
there.
one of
Hey,
them.
man, that coach down there
I'm
is
diehard.
doing a good job. So. All right, so let's see. Do you have a final score for this weekend? What is the scoreboard going to say at 3:30 Central Time Sunday afternoon here in Nashville?
It's going to say 28-13. That's what it's going to say. Titans.
28-13 Titans, right? Okay, I was going to say. Uh, so yeah, I'm going 35-17 Tennessee. I'm going to go over
I'm
30
going to
for the
break 30
second
again.
week in a row. We're going to go 2 weeks in a row with over 30 points. Hey,
No field goals,
if I'm wrong, I'm
five
wrong. I
touchdowns.
really don't care.
I,
I just gotta, hey,
I
you
hope you're
gotta
right.
believe this is all for fun, man. Hey, and you know what? If I'm right, y'all will be looking back and not laughing. So we'll see. So, but yeah, big thank you to all Colts fans and Tennessee Titans fans. We love you the most. Tighten up for that two-tone blue, baby. Tighten up that like button down there. Comment down below and let us know what you think the score prediction is going to be this week. And then we'll see you next week on our recap.
Yep. Looking to the Titans table for two, baby. And on that note, check, please.
We'll catch you guys next week, baby.
Tighten up.